Welcome to Rachel Uncensored, one of the few places on the internet that you can find an uncensored version of me. Hello, I'm Rachel, and I'm here with my best friend Joy, and a brand new dog of the day. This is Conan.
Conan with the C, baby.
This is Conan. He is a German Shepherd, for those who are listening.
Is he a German Shepherd?
I don't know.
I thought he would maybe be a Mastiff. I'm just kidding.
Is he a Dalmatian?
Possibly. Is he a Springer Spaniel?
I was letting the listeners know what type of dog. He is a huge 8-month-old German Shepherd that Joy is babysitting right now. You keep saying fostering, but you're watching him for a foster family.
I'm watching him for free. And I also had to fill out the foster application for 2 different rescues and send them a whole video through my house and go through the whole foster application. So I'm what's called a 1-week foster.
You're 1 week fostering
because
him.
They have fosters that can't commit long term, but basically they're on call for like when the long term fosters are going on vacation or something like that. So you for sure have like an end date, like they're coming back this day, but
I could do something like that.
Yeah. So that's why we started with this, because it's not too much of a commitment.
Yeah.
Plus, we also already knew Conan. He had already met our dogs a couple times. But yeah. Hey.
So, and now he said, I'm done now. Bye.
I'm going to keep the leash short. See if I can. Come here.
Come here, bud.
Keep him up here.
Oh, you're going to be so distracting this episode, aren't you?
Come here.
He can be off leash. Let him run him around. There's nothing much.
Oh, he's going to lay down there. That's fine.
There's not much in here he can get into.
Just cords he will
just knock things he'll knock over.
Be an 8-month puppy and get him.
He is bigger than both my boys, and he's only 8 months.
Yeah, he's huge.
I can't. That's too big for me.
Huge.
All right, let's just jump into things, and he's just gonna do what he does. Yep. He's actually wrapped up in the cord now. There we go. Okay. You know what? I take Blaze for granted because I forgot that I have trained him I haven't trained him well to be outside of the house or to, hang out with dogs very well. But I have trained him for camera work.
Yes.
And he performs.
Yes.
He knows when I'm doing this to just sit and chill.
He knows what time it is.
He knows what time it is. And Conan does not.
He's learning.
Come on, O'Brien. Let's get this together.
O'Brien.
Okay. I'm going to read you an entry from 101 Things That Pissed Me Off. We're on number 96. We're almost done.
Yes.
Are you ready?
Let's do it.
You know what pisses me off?
What, Rachel?
That women are constantly leaking.
That honestly pisses me off so absolutely much.
I don't know quite what I said in this, so let's read it. It's actually a bit of an entry. Usually I just do like 3 sentences. I got 2 paragraphs here. There is always something leaking out of our vaginas, and no one talks about it. It's taboo. But the world needs to know that our vaginas have a constant runny nose. We don't enjoy it. We can't stop it. It isn't pleasant. We don't like pulling down our pants to pee and seeing this clear/white crap in our undies, then pulling our pants back up and it's wet and cold because our underwear was down too long and now it's no longer body temperature.
Wow, she got real.
I did. Sometimes when I don't want to deal with it, I shove a tampon up there so my undies stay nice and dry.
Oh my God, it's so real. Call me out.
Which apparently is bad for you. It can cause toxic shock syndrome. But that's how much I hate it.
Toxic shock syndrome.
Shock syndrome. I'm just rambling. But that's how much I hate it. I'm willing to risk my life so I don't have to deal with discharge for a night.
Literally.
Suck it, world. I talked about it.
Literally. I don't know if you had the same experience, but as a kid, like I remember not knowing how normal that was and thinking I was the only one and something was wrong with me.
Oh,
being
yeah.
so embarrassed if like my underwear was ever on the floor during like one of my friends over or something like that.
And there's stuff in it. Yeah.
And as I get older, it's like so normal.
Discharge is constantly happening for women. And I do remember senior prom of high school. My dress was silk, so I couldn't wear underwear with it. Mm-hmm. So I did stick a tampon up there so that I wouldn't leak because I wasn't wearing underwear.
I've done that many a time. I still do it sometimes.
Yeah, it's not good for you, but I have done it on occasion.
Or sometimes like with my favorite shorts that I always want to wear or something, I'd be like, I'm wearing a tampon today because I can't keep washing these things every single day.
Yes. No. Okay. So sophomore year of college, my friend was like, let's go commando for a year. And I was like, okay. So I did. I was just like, weird. College is when you experiment, apparently. And I decided to experiment not wearing underwear for a year. And I cannot believe I kept wearing the same pair of jeans. It's college. You don't wash your clothes.
Yeah.
You wash them like once every 2 weeks, right?
Right.
And I had one pair of jeans.
Yeah.
So I wore these fucking nasty ass True Religion pants every day without underwear. And then I remember so vividly when I decided to start wearing underwear again. It was summertime. I had gone that entire sophomore year without wearing underwear. And then it was summertime and I was back home and I think my dad was painting windows and I went to like go hang out with him and I was wearing shorts and I felt something dripping on my leg and I looked down and discharge was running down my leg. He obviously didn't know what I was like hanging out by myself and I was like, oh my God. And
she got that wet.
I was like, I gotta go, bye. And I left and I always wear underwear now. I mean, there are times that outfits, when you're wearing leggings or biker shorts, I don't wear like underwear.
Yeah.
I
would say for me, it seems to be more so like a certain time of like the month or something. Cause it's not every single day.
No,
but that's the hard part is you can't figure out when it's going to happen.
It's when you're ovulating.
Oh, see, you learn something new every day. I was like, I swear it doesn't happen like all the time, but I feel like I go through this little spell every month where it's like happening every day. That makes
it's when you're ovulating. So, or if you're fighting, like if you're sick or something and your vagina or like you got fingered or had dirty sex or something and something was up there that was probably not the cleanest of some sorts.
Yeah.
Your vagina will rinse itself out.
That makes sense.
That's why we're having discharge. Your vagina is an open hole.
Right.
So it's constantly going, okay, whatever's in here, get it out. And then when you ovulate, your mucus gets thicker and more intense because it's trying to trap any semen that gets up in there.
God.
So that you can get pregnant.
Disgusting.
So it's doing its job. I always I will wear underwear all day and there will always be something in it at the end of the day.
Always, yeah.
Always a little snail trail.
I can't.
But ovulation weeks, that's rough.
Oh man, I remember I get just so cringe talking about any of this kind of stuff only because it just has left such a scar on me. I remember when I was young in 6th grade and I went to my best friend's birthday party, who was also a guy, probably like the cutest guy in school, but he was my good friend. And it was a pool party and I must have like left my underwear out in the open or something because the next day at school, I think he was too embarrassed to like give it back to me, which is why would the parents have the son like give it back to me? Anyway,
that's weird.
But I just remember going out to recess and then coming back and it was like awkwardly my underwear was like awkwardly like folded up like sitting next to my backpack. So somebody like secretly put it there, and I genuinely think they put it there because they were too scared to be like, hey, did you leave this at my house kind of thing. And I never asked him about it. Who knows, maybe his parents didn't even know him. Maybe he just like was like, I'm gonna do this and try not to embarrass her. Like I don't know.
That was sweet of him to try to not embarrass you.
But I remember picking them up and looking at them. Of course there's like stuff in them. I remember just looking up mortified like and no one's looking at me. Like I quickly shove them in my backpack. Like, and to this day, I'm like, I don't know if it was him or his brother that put them there or one of the girls, or like to this day, I have no idea. And I never found out the answer. But just the idea of one of my guy friends seeing that, just as a young girl, like mortified. I was like, everyone's gonna talk about how I have the vagina that has stuff in my underwear.
No, it needs to be talked about more. One thing that needs to be talked about, because I didn't realize it until I was an adult, and I actually got paid. I think I've talked about this. I got paid to do an awareness campaign about bacterial vaginosis, BV. And so BV is when it's a disease? Bacterial vaginosis. It's when your vagina gets a bacteria in it and it smells extremely fishy.
Yeah.
So, one, vaginas are not supposed to smell like roses, okay? So don't get the douche soap shit that smells like roses and whatever.
Typically that makes it worse, right?
Yes, it does. So your vagina is supposed to smell like a fucking vagina. You take a shower, it smells like nothing. By the end of the day, it smells like the day. Mm-hmm. Like it's not, rainbows and sunshine and Skittles and cupcakes.
Right.
But it's not supposed to smell like a fish market.
Yeah.
Because, and don't be ashamed if it does, it just means you have BV, bacterial vaginosis.
And you can fix it.
You just go get some antibiotics. You can go to urgent care, you can go to your doctor, you can go to Planned Parenthood, and they'll give you some antibiotics. A week later, it's back to smelling like a normal vagina, okay? I didn't know what BV was in high school. Looking back, I had it. And it got rid of it because I went on antibiotics for something else and it happened to kick it. But I couldn't tell why my vagina was smelling and no one talked about it. No one said anything. And then later as an adult, I realized that's what I had. And I had just gotten on antibiotics for something else and it kicked it.
And learning to how many poor girls probably gone through the same experience. Real quick, not to cut us off, I think he might actually be a little hot. Do we have an AC? We have
AC. You're just gonna hear it, but it's totally fine.
Oh,
so
one second.
No, it's okay. It's not too loud.
Okay.
It's a little humming.
Okay.
Let's check to see if we have a sponsor for today. Sponsor. Home Chef. Home Chef is our sponsor for today. Do you find yourself eating the same thing over and over again? I know I do. But work is burning you out, so you don't have time to search for new meals, pick out ingredients, and learn how to cook something new. And what if you don't even like it? What if you go through all that trouble and it's not even good? Home Chef gets it and is here to make meals easier and healthier, along with tons of variety. Home Chef delivers fresh ingredients and chef-designed recipes conveniently to your doorstep to simplify your cooking experience. Users of leading meal kits have rated Home Chef #1 in quality, convenience, value, taste, and recipe ease, which is my favorite thing about it. That and how everything tastes delicious. Home Chef has over 30 options a week and serves a variety of dietary needs. Plus, it's economical. Home Chef customers save an average of $86 per month on groceries. And in this economy, you can't afford not to get it. For a limited time, Home Chef is offering my listeners 50% off and free shipping for your first box, plus free dessert for life. Go to homechef.com/Rachel. That's homechef.com/Rachel for 50% off your first box and free dessert for life. Homechef.com/Rachel. You must be an active subscriber to receive a free dessert. All right, AC's on. But anyway, so I remember people making fun. This made me angry. I remember in high school, one of my guy friends hooked up with this chick and he kept making fun of her in private to our friend group. She didn't know about this, about how bad her vagina smelled.
No, that sucks.
He's like, my hands still smell like fish, blah, 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 blah.
Wash your hands, stupid.
Yeah. Well, guys, I know guys have made fun of girls for that. Now it's coming out that most of BV is caused by men.
Yep.
So the thing that they're fucking making fun of is caused by them.
So are most birth defects.
Yes.
And problems having children and conceiving children.
Yes.
Yep.
And they always blame the woman. And it's typically, stereotypically, a straight cis man's fault.
I would love to bring back all of the women and their men from the past that probably were dishonored in the family or whatever the heck because of it, and just give them all this new information and then send them back to the grave.
They'll say it was all a lie. But so the things that never talked about that should be, and I hope they're talked about more, constant discharge is normal.
Yeah.
And your vagina shouldn't smell like roses. But if it smells extremely like fish, just go get some antibiotics.
Yep.
Call it a day.
Yep.
And that's the end of it. It's not that big of a deal.
Yep. And just slut shame men back is another lesson to learn. So if they're over here like, oh man, it smells like blah, 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 then you just talk about how teeny itsy bitsy tiny his penis was.
Oh my God. I saw something. Oh, I saved it because it was such a good quote. I saw it on Instagram. Let me pull it up. Sorry, 1 second. Men, if your first instinct when a woman tells you about sexism is to think of a counterexample, you are not listening. You are arguing. Women do not need you to disprove their experiences. They need you to stop being part of the problem. Yep. I thought this was so, because every time I bring up any of this, people are like, oh, if you were talking about a man, and I'd be like,
that's not what we're talking about right now.
No. And you can have your own experiences. You don't need to fight ours with yours. There can both be true.
Mm-hmm. It's the same world that Black people live in when they talk about their experiences. And white people, oh, but all lives matter. And one time I had a cop that was mean to me.
What the fuck is Black fatigue?
I don't know.
I keep thinking this. I see it as a racist thing.
Did you see that the lady's original video?
No. I keep seeing white people. From what I'm seeing is white people have stolen the phrase and are saying it's when they're annoyed hearing about racism and black people's experiences
and their struggles. And there was one, from what I know is, and I saw the video, there was one woman who was a white woman who was talking about this, and she was the one that was like drawing attention to that. I have black fatigue, I'm tired of this, blah 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 blah. And then it just kind of caught like wildfire on social media.
What the fucking racism?
You also heard about
I'm sorry, you're tired of hearing about black people's experiences? I think they're fucking tired of living them.
Literally.
God.
Yeah. Did you hear about the woman who called the 5-year-old?
I heard about this. The N-word, and then she's raising money for herself.
Her GoFundMe raised like $600,000.
It's ridiculous.
But from what I also heard is a black woman, a lawyer, worked really hard, and those funds are now suspended through GoFundMe.
I saw that because she looked at who was funding it and stuff. I can't. I'm pissed. Okay, should we move on to something a little more lighthearted?
Yes, but real quick before that, I just also want to say, today when I was walking a dog, there's this old white couple that was walking by me, and this lady looks up at me, big old Trump hat, and she just goes,
she waves
at me, right? And I just go, no. And she was genuinely confused. Like, you could see it on her face. I don't think it registered what hat she had on.
Were you wearing the Ban Off Our Body shirt?
No, just dog walking. But my skin color is enough.
It is. Maybe she just thinks you're really tan.
Yeah, like I think she just saw me walking the dog, and she maybe could be just, I don't want to, my mouth won't even let me call her an NISE lady because she was wearing a Trump hat.
NISE.
NICE.
NICE. NICE. Oh.
I don't even want to say.
I could not spell just now. I was like,
no, I didn't spell. You couldn't sound that.
Wow.
Yeah, I was trying though. I'm just saying. I'm sure she's in my mouth just wouldn't let me know.
No, she's not a nice lady because she is actively in support of a human being that is evil.
Like I can't give you a pass, but in the slightest way. Like,
no, don't let her fool you.
I'm just saying,
she gaslight you.
How now? How are you even today? Like now, how can you still put that hat on?
If people are still supporting him, you're trash.
You're beyond like that. You're consciously seeing what's going on.
But
anyway, we can't talk about this.
There's so much I can say.
I don't want to talk
about
politics.
Fuck Trump. That's all I have to say.
I don't want to talk about politics right now.
Okay, we're gonna move on to something that is way more lighthearted.
Please.
Something my mother texted me today.
Oh,
and she says these words remind me of words we'd stump each other with on our podcast. So my mom and I used to have a podcast, All Things Internet, and we used to do like define that word or whatever, and it's like weird words, or it used to be like Gen Z words. I'd give her Gen Z or Alpha, whatever. Yes. But she sent me, these are 40 English words you never thought existed. So I'm just gonna say the word, and you have to guess the definition.
Okay. Oh no.
Okay. Agog. AGOG. Agog.
Agog.
Agog.
Like a...
I am so agog right now.
Relaxed.
No. Very eager or curious to hear or see something.
Okay, would not have got
I'm
that.
agog to see that dog.
At first I was thinking synagogue. And I was like, so probably something to do with synagogue. And then I was like, what's a synagogue?
Isn't that is it Jewish?
That's what I was trying to like.
I don't want to say
conjure up. I was like trying to think, what is it? It's something with the religion, I think. And then I got too stuck on synagogues. So
oh my god. Well, it sounds like I bumfuzzled you.
Confused.
Yes, okay. To confuse or fluster.
Good. Okay, got that one.
Bumfuzzled you.
Bumfuzzled.
I am bumfuzzled right now.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I love that word.
Bumfuzzled is cute.
Bumfuzzled.
What's your cat's name? Bumfuzzled.
That sounds like Bumfuzz.
Bumfuzz.
Bumfuzzled. Okay, do one to me. Do one to me. Just go anywhere on the list. I want to try and guess. Do me.
Okay, let me see.
La 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 la.
Okay, I'm gonna start. Ooh.
Oh, Conan didn't like that.
Oxter.
Were you bumfuzzled by that? I'm sorry. Oxford, like Oxford English Dictionary.
No, Oxter. Oxter.
Oxter. oxter. A strong
Oxter. My oxter is stinky.
The fuck? Household? Feet? Vagina? Dogs? What is it?
An armpit.
Why are we having a new name for an armpit?
It says chiefly Scottish, Irish, English. Yeah, oxter, an armpit.
No, see, these are supposed to be...
No,
I don't agree with this. Why do we need another name for something?
Wait. These are funny. I'm trying to...
They're hard to pronounce.
Siloquent.
Siloquent.
Siloquent. Siloquent.
I have no idea. Siloquent.
Oh, I have to talk really fast. I hope I don't siloquent.
When you stutter?
No.
Well, tell me.
Spitting while speaking. Siloquent.
That is evil because that is a word you'd spit when saying siloquent.
I think I have.
That's like when people, the word stutter for when you have a stutter is the meanest fucking way.
What about the word lisp?
Why? That is so mean.
That's not nice.
That's so, why do we do that? They could, a lisp should have been.
You have to have a little fun in life.
No, that's mean. That's just mean.
It's not good.
It's not good. Okay, give me one more.
Okay, let me see. I want to give you a good one.
Baby dog. Oh, yeah, you just needed the AC on.
Yeah, you did.
He's just a baby dog. And he's getting his scratches. Blaze is going to be so pissed.
I know.
Sorry.
What?
You got to speak. We're
I'm
on a podcast.
I'm trying to.
She's been
sound it
silent.
out. Zenzik. Wow. That's
What? Let me fucking see. I'm not going to get the definition
wait.
of Zenzi.
Let me
Zenzik.
zoom in so you can't see what the definition is. It's
Zen-
literally Zenzi,
Snoring?
Zenzik.
Is it snoring? What is it?
The eighth power of a number.
The eighth power of a number.
Zenzi,
Why?
Zenzik.
Why do we need that definition?
That's gonna be the name of my next dog for sure. Zenzi.
Yeah, yell that across the park.
Zenzinik.
Oh my God.
People are gonna think I'm having a stroke.
I feel like there are so
Skedaddle.
many things that are unnecessary.
So many. What are those words?
I don't know. My mom sent me this, so take that with a grain of salt. But
What, like maybe she-
skedaddle's on here
Yeah.
to run away quickly.
Yeah.
That's not a
could've
weird
got that
word.
one.
I skedaddle all the time.
I skipped my loo.
I'm not skedaddling.
What
I'm
else is on there?
lollygagging.
That armpit one was weird. Oxter. I feel like that's one of those moments where it just imprints in my brain and I never forget it for some random reason.
I've told that story before, I think, where I hated vocab. I hated vocab in high school and stuff because I was like, I'm never going to use these words.
Yeah.
And people that do use them are trying too hard to look smart. Because they know no one else knows them.
I liked vocab because I had a picture like memory. When I was a kid, I could see something. Boom, it's imprinted. It's good to go. So I liked that because I could actually do the spelling bees and stuff. I couldn't stand history. I'm like, this already happened. Why am I wasting today on the past?
The thing about history.
No, it's important.
It's more important.
But that was my argument for 13 years.
Oh, well, I have so many things. One, okay, so English, it is good to learn to read and write, obviously.
Right.
But there was like, this is a little ridiculous with these words, okay? Like if no one ever is using them, why do I have to learn them?
Totally.
I only have so much space
now
in my
they don't
teenage
have to
brain.
learn cursive anymore.
Yeah, I'm like, there's only so much space in my brain. How about we put something functional in there?
Right.
That's why
I don't know how to do my own taxes.
I know. I absorbed econ. Like I loved econ because that has to do with everyday adult things.
I didn't make it that high.
Oh, well. Another thing,
I was
though,
just chucking through.
I know. I feel a lot of people in high school are, but I remember in college, in the tutor center, I tutored ASL, and there was math charts. I don't know why they printed this and why they had it up, but it's when in life you use certain levels of math.
Because they're trying to gaslight all the students to be like, you are going to use this shit.
Well, no, because the first like 2 was like, yeah, okay, basic math, life, you use it every day. And then there's stats, which you use when you're a researcher or whatever. And then literally like calculus, anything after that, the only time you use it is to teach math. I was like, why the fuck is this being offered?
Not everybody wants to be, what was his name?
Stephen Hawking?
No.
Rain Man?
No. The,
I have no idea who you're talking about. You've given me nothing but math.
I know.
Einstein.
Him. Was he the math guy? Wasn't there another math guy?
Equals MC squared?
Yeah, but wasn't there another? No, he was the universe guy. What was his name? Apostle or something?
Aristotle's a philosopher, and he studied the stars.
And math guy too, right?
Yeah, he studied the stars.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking of. But Albert
I care more
Einstein
about
was
him with philosophy because that was easier for me to understand.
Yeah. Anyway,
I just feel like there's so much in the school curriculum that is completely unnecessary, and they don't put in things that are necessary.
I totally agree. I think school should be tailored more to teaching people about like what's the easiest way to put this? Like obviously math and the like those basic things are important, but I think if somebody wants to go on to do a specific profession where they're going to need to know more extensive math or something, then cool. But I think school should be tailored more around teaching you how to live your life, how to literally schedule how to be like plan your life, how to do your own taxes, how to do your own oil change, like literally like life stuff.
That's what I think high school should be, and college should be trade schools, where you are specializing in whatever you want the rest of your life to be, and not force 18-year-olds to make that decision. You should be like, oh, okay, at 18 you go travel, you go do a part-time job, a full-time job, whatever, and then at 24 when you figure out what you want, then you go to a trade school for that profession, and not just plumbing, electrical, things like that, but doctors, nurses, psychiatrists. Like it's just unnecessary.
Totally.
It's so unnecessary to me. And it's college. Don't think that people are like, well, it's called a well-rounded education. Bitch, that is marketing.
Right.
Colleges are a business, and they have marketed and convinced you that's what you need. I didn't need to take walk jog. I did not need to pay $2,000 a semester to take walk jog because I need to meet a PE credit.
Yes.
Like that
pissed
is
me off,
bullshit.
and then I have to pay for it. That pissed me off so much when it came to college. I was like, especially for the most part, me going to college, I either when I was trying to get my business degree, or B, I was trying to become a vet tech. And both times I went, I just would get so pissed because I'm like, you're telling me I have to do this crap that I already did for 2 years and get a freaking certificate before I can actually start doing what the heck I need to start doing? I couldn't do it. I just grew so angry walking into class every day.
Like Abby just graduated. Praise be unto her. And it was a big deal because she got a psychology degree, and she really struggles like I do with math and science. And she was so intimidated going to college in the beginning. She never went. But to start college, the main thing that she struggled with facing the statistics, math, science, that stuff. And I don't think she needed to have taken that because she wants to go into therapy, which requires no math. Now people are like, well, what about, if someone who's a psychologist or psychiatrist that does prescription drugs, or a researcher, then great. If that's the field you want to go to, if you want to specialize in that part of psychology,
then at that point you get that knowledge.
Then you go do research, statistics, stuff like that.
I agree.
But for her who wants to sit down and listen to people's stories and maybe write stuff about it, so I would say then just psychology and English classes.
Totally. I agree.
And classes to teach her how to research, but not statistics.
Yeah.
Because I think one big thing that a lot of people need to learn is how to tell if a study was accurately done.
Yeah.
And to like know if an article you're reading has actual like things to back it up and where it came from. And like the person who wrote the article, are they a valid source? Are they credible?
Right.
I think that's one thing that no one really teaches you, and you should, because I took a research class and they didn't teach me that.
Well, no, but I do remember actually learning, practicing that in my, what was it?
I don't know.
It was like it was an actual writing.
Was it a journalism class?
Like
a journalism?
I think so. Yeah, but you had to. I remember doing that. You had to cite everything, and I remember that shit would always confuse.
Well,
the
yeah,
fuck out of me.
if in English classes you have to cite your sources.
That's what I was thinking of.
But people have learned to cite themselves, but don't learn to read other people's citations.
Okay,
is that the right word?
Yeah. Like where they got their information from.
So we know to fucking different fonts, different formats. God damn the formats. I hated that shit. But in certain areas that is useful, and in others it's just, I feel like it's just a way to make money off of people.
I agree. It's absolutely a way to make money off people.
Mood is our sponsor for today. Did you know that there's an online cannabis company that ships federally legal THC right to your door? And they found a way to combine THC with carefully selected functional ingredients to target nearly every mood and health concern that you can think of. I'm talking about mood.com's incredible line of functional gummies. And you can get 20% off your first order at mood.com with the promo code uncensored. Forget one-size-fits-all supplements that only get you high. Mood's functional gummies are optimized to kick in as little as 15 minutes and take you to the mood you're looking for. Whether that's mind magic gummies for deep work and creativity, PMS support to ease cramps and balance mood swings, or their sexual euphoria gummies to help you feel ready for action and turn every touch into a full body experience. Listen, you can find gummies to just get you high pretty much anywhere these days, but Mood's functional gummies combine premium, federally legal THC with targeted botanicals to help you get into the perfect mood, usually in as little as 15 minutes. And everything ships directly to your door. No dispensary lines, no awkward conversations, just better days and nights delivered to your doorstep. Best of all, not only is every Mood product backed by a 100-day satisfaction guarantee, but as I mentioned, listeners get 20% off their first order with the code uncensored. So head to mood.com, find the functional gummy that matches exactly what you're looking for, and let Mood help you discover your perfect mood. And don't forget to use the promo code uncensored when you check out to save 20% on your first order.
Especially because majority of the jobs you learn on the job anyway.
Yeah, and like that's a huge thing. Is what jobs who require you to have a bachelor's degree are actually looking at is, will you sit there and listen to commands?
Yeah.
Will you do the same thing day in and day out and show up every day?
That's why I didn't make it.
Yeah.
I was like, nope, this isn't financially. I can't afford this.
Well, I did it, and I still can't do that shit.
Yeah.
I can't. That's how I work for myself. Don't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
I hate authority figures.
Yeah. Especially like, I think I've said this before, especially though when it came down to me just simply telling my teachers like, look, I have to work also during the week. So is it okay if I come to class 15 minutes late or leave 15 minutes early? And it was just always an effing problem. It's like, you don't understand. If I don't work, I don't pay my bills. Like, and at the time I didn't have a job where I could be like, hey, I'm in school. If I told my job I'm in school between this time and this time, then that means that they're most likely going to give me that full day off. I'm not making that money. So instead I would go to school, do my 2 or 3 hours for that class, and then I turn around and I go back to work and finish work.
And that is also why college is a huge fucking scam, because it's for rich people to get richer. So rich kids who come from, so usually this is a thing, that kids that come from wealthy families can go to better, more expensive schools.
Totally.
And they don't have to work because their mom and dad are paying or giving them an allowance or something. So they
or donation to the school.
Or just donation to the school. So they can focus solely on school instead of a kid who comes from a lower class family who has to work 2 jobs to pay for the education and will choose a cheaper school with a not a great curriculum because it's what they can afford. Or
sometimes too, it's not even class. Sometimes the parents literally just don't want to financially support the child for whatever reason.
And I'm aware that just because you have a rich family doesn't mean that they're willing to pay for your school and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
The system is set up like it always is, where the rich get richer, they have more opportunities, and people are like, well, if they can get in, then they can get in. It's the same thing. No,
Totally.
It's not. It is the same application process, except when parents do donate money.
Yeah.
But when you're there, it's completely different.
Totally.
It's completely different if
And
you're
then-
able to focus on your school and not work.
And I've had people say too, though, but like, yeah, no, that makes it a lot harder. But of course, you have those people out there that are like single moms and they're on their own, but somehow they work a full-time job. They're a single mom and they also make it through college. And it's like, great. Yeah, I understand that too. But sometimes just like I was the most overwhelmed of like, just how do I even start? How do I even get into college? I remember going to my mom and be like, I don't even know what to do. Like, if I want to go to college, how do we even start? Because my mom would just be like, well, just apply for like grants or whatever. And I'm like, okay, how?
My
Like,
dad did most of it all for me.
figuring that out. And then once I finally got those answers of how I do that, how do I get grants? The deadline was like coming up super fast.
Oh, yeah.
Two, once I heard the amount of work that's going to go into those, like what this counselor was telling me, I remember just trying to hold back tears so hard because it was another year where I realized this is going to be another year where I won't make it. I won't go to college because now I'm hearing like, you have to do this, you have to submit all this stuff. And I'm just sinking further into this hole. And I'm like, I can't do that. I can't no.
It is crazy. You can. It is possible to do it on your own, but it is so much fucking easier to have a guardian or parent or counselor who's there holding your hand through every step of the way.
And with having to work and everything, I was like, nope.
I couldn't have gotten through it without my parents.
Yeah.
Not a chance in hell.
And then the second year around, I figured it out. I got the FAFSA and everything. And then I'm going to school. That's when I got the news of you got to do 2 years before you even get to do what the fuck you're trying to do.
You know what's so fucking annoying is there are kids whose parents will not help them with college, but they can't get FAFSA and grants because their parents make too much money.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, but the parents aren't helping. But the parents aren't helping. But they're like, well, that's like when people are like, first generation homeowners get this huge discount. But it's like, well, because I'm like, wait, but just because someone's parents have owned a home doesn't mean that they are helping.
Totally.
Or like they have it is like it can be a helpful thing, but that doesn't always mean it.
No, I had that same thing happen to me, and so the FAFSA was delayed, and that's when my mom ended up paying for my school books, although I had to pay her back. But my mom paid for my school books until the FAFSA money came in, but I had to like appeal it, basically saying like and tell them my life story basically about how I'm adopted and all this crap and whatever, and then they wanted to help me.
Dude, Abby had...
And even still, I barely got anything. I had a friend who was giving all her FAFSA money. She was getting... How much money? She was getting a decent amount of money a month because she was taking a lot of classes, and she would actually give all that money to her parents because she was staying at home.
Oh, wow. Abby just did school, and she chose a school that basically she got a free education.
Yeah.
Because she was out of state. She was going back when she was older. California has a lot of stuff. California is such a great state. There's flaws, of course, but they help in certain areas. And she got her education for free because she figured out she was able to sit down as an adult, figure out all the grants and FAFSAs and all that stuff. And she went to a cheaper school and she did all that stuff. But there were times where those things weren't coming in. They're like, oh, it'll be in by the end of the month. But the deadline for the payment was 2 weeks earlier than that.
Yeah.
So I would pay for the school. And then when the FAFSA grants came in, she would then give me that money.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how are people doing this that don't have a me? Mm-hmm. Or don't have a parent to help them? Or
Totally.
How are they doing this?
Totally.
And Abby was like, I guess credit cards?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is so dangerous.
Sometimes
That's so
with
fucked
certain
up.
things, though, you can also ask for like an extension, and if you can prove that, like you're not getting it.
Yeah, but that's another step of crazy.
No, yeah, exactly. And that's why all of those tiny little steps that it takes to get into college and stay in college. I understand some people do. I didn't have the time, nor did I have I was at my literal worst when it came to being in that point in my life between like my 20s and like 24, being able to control my anger, my anxiety.
Yeah.
Like I would get like overwhelmed so fast. I remember when I tried doing school online, and after I was in like in the school. Then I was like, this isn't working for me. I finished a semester. I said the second semester I'm going to do online. And then one day I was just so overwhelmed by the essays I have to turn in, all this homework, all this stuff. I was like frustrated about like, how do I get into the webinar? How do I get into the class? And then I missed a class and I was in trouble already. And it was just like piling up. And I was on the phone with my friend Lexi, I remember, and I was sobbing, and I was upstairs in my room. And I remember I was just like, I want this college degree so bad, but I feel crazy right now. Like I literally was having the craziest panic attack. And I go, and she literally is like, Joy, drop out. Yeah. It's okay. You don't have to get a college degree. And I think I just needed to hear that. And as soon as she said that, it was like, this wave of calmness came over me. I remember looking straight at my computer and just getting on it and just doing what I got to do and just dropping all my class right then and there. And you know, the craziest thing is too, is my mom asked every single day, are you in school? How's school going? Blah, blah, even though she wasn't like helping me or anything. But that day after I dropped my classes, she never, it was, I think she might have heard me in my room or something. She never ever asked me about school ever again after that.
Yeah, it's hard. Like there are so many times I can't believe I figured it out, and when Abby had to figure things out, as we're full grown adults, and I can pretty much figure out anything these days.
So
like
stressful.
My brain's fully formed now. I'm like, how are teenagers figuring this out?
Yeah,
and it's not even a tech savvy thing. No. It's like just. What the fuck? This form doesn't make any sense.
Steps. And then you think you have everything complete, and then all of a sudden a date's wrong or this is wrong, and then you're having to do it all over again. Like after I got into COC and tried doing all that, I tried getting into Pierce College a year later to do their vet tech program because they had a really good one. Mm-hmm. But that was like a 4 to 6 year program. And then and then my life, I'm like, I don't know where I'm living next year. Like, you know, like it was just so much. And like just thinking about that, but still it eats at me. I still have moments where I think to myself like, okay, you're a little more stable now. Like maybe, I don't know why sometimes it just is this thing in my head where I feel like if I have to accomplish
society has put that in our minds.
Yes.
That's what society, if you do not plan to use a degree,
in my mind, it just makes me think like, what if
it's never too late. It's never too late. That is a huge thing. Colleen and I just talked about this on the SAS podcast. It is never too late to be who you wanted to be.
I literally thought to myself before, it's so funny. I think even with Abby graduating, that's what's making me think about it more. But I was thinking about it just the other day, and I thought to myself, like, maybe, like, as crazy as it is, like, maybe when you're like in your 40s and you're more stable, you and Dylan hopefully own a home at that point, whatever, maybe because you for some reason want to get this done, you do it then.
Yeah.
Even if it's just your AA. Like, you know, like
it's never too late. And it's easier when you are more stable to do an online thing. Cause you know, you can figure out your stuff more and you know where you're going to be next year.
Right,
like, you know, your life, but it's never too late. But if you're just getting it to get it, I'm like, unless you have an abundant amount of money and time,
right,
there is no point. But if you're like, I would like to learn more about vet stuff, and
the only thing that I think about is like, what if a society one day gets to a point where it's like, you can't get a good paying job unless you have a college degree. Like, I don't know why that's like.
That's what it was. And then now everyone's being like, that doesn't mean bullshit. And now we all have student loans. So it's kind of going backwards right now. But you can always, if you do just want to have knowledge on stuff, you can just take classes.
Yeah.
Like there are so many just classes so that you can learn about that.
Totally. And that's why I like doing like at least the dog training, like webinars and stuff like that. Like that kind of feels like, I mean, it is like it, but I mean, regardless though, it's so cool that Abby went back to school and got her degree. How long was she in school for? 4 years?
4.5. She did one extra. Because we traveled so much, she did lighter courses so that she could have a life. And because she wasn't on a timeline, that was actually a huge discussion. She was like, I can either hate life for an entire semester or extend for an extra semester and just relax. I'm like, what are you rushing for?
Right. Especially if it's just one more semester.
Yeah. I was like, what are you rushing for? I rushed through college because it was expensive.
Yeah.
So I took summer courses because they were half off, and I took like 2 a summer, and so I got a whole semester cut short. So I actually saved money. So I was in a hurry.
Yeah.
Because the time was money.
Yeah.
But I was like, just what do you mean? Just relax. She's like, I just want to be done with it. I'm like, yeah, but you're going to hate your life.
Yeah. And 4.5 years really isn't that long. Like it is when you're going through it. But then when you look back, you know, and I think about that sometimes too. Like I think about like if I did 4.5 years starting right now, I'd be like 35 by the time I'm done.
Yeah. When she was starting school, she was talking to her mom, and she was terrified of going to school because she's like, but what about the math and science classes? Like, I just can't. She's always been really good at English. And she was like, and I'll be like 30 by the time I graduate. And her mom's like, well, you're going to turn 30 anyway.
Yeah, right.
Might as well.
Yeah.
Might as well also have a degree.
30's better than 40. 40's better than 50.
Yeah. And if you're 50,
50's better than 60.
Yeah, you can fucking do it. At her graduation, there was like an old 50-year-old guy that was graduating.
That is sick.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Colleen was talking about on SAS how her father-in-law just, he has a doctorate already, and he just keeps going back to school and getting more degrees because he just loves learning.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I'm interested. He's a huge musician dude. So
that's cool.
He went back for musical theory stuff. And I'm like, that is so cool. Like, that's what I want to do. I want to be able to constantly be learning and growing, but not do it in like this structured society's deemed this the best way when it's fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything from college. No. I don't remember anything.
The only thing I really remember from my school days is like the stuff that happened on the playground, you know?
Yeah. Like I remember certain things from high school because it was like more stressful. But I think once I got to college, I was like, no one's going to be looking at my essays.
No. That's the other crazy part is that you're like taught for so long to care so much about your grades and all this stuff. And then when you get to college, like nobody cares. You can literally pass with like a barely pass
unless
by
you're
a C.
planning to go get your master's or doctorate afterwards, because then that matters to get into those programs. But if you're like, I'm stopping at my bachelor's degree, no one's gonna be like, okay, and what grade did you get in physics?
Right. No
like,
one.
If you're like trying to, if you're just like fucking applying to be at some normal 9 to 5 job,
right? They don't
care
of a shit.
If they say you have to have a bachelor's degree, your bachelor's degree is the same on piece of paper if you had a C average or an A average.
There's people who get hired for those jobs saying they have a bachelor degree and they don't.
Yes.
Because they don't even check on it. So
you can just say
some companies say they do a background check and they don't.
I do have a friend that she was, I think our college was so fucking dumb. She was short on community service hours. And yes, our college had community service hours. And she also like owed $1,000 or something. And so she didn't technically graduate, but she did all the classes and she had the student loans, but she didn't do the final things, like just some bullshit things to graduate.
So stupid.
And she was like, whatever, no one's ever, she had an art degree. Well, she was trying to get her art degree. And she's like, no one's ever going to check this. And she went years without anyone ever taking note of it. But then she wanted to go to Taiwan and teach English in Taiwan. And it's a teaching job.
Right.
So then they checked, and then she had to go back and do the things, and she officially got her degree or whatever. But
that's so annoying.
And I was like, okay, yeah, if you're doing it,
I'm like, can I give you the $1,000 plus money for the service hours? Like, what the fuck is this?
They drilled that into our heads our freshman year. Like, if you do not complete your community service, you will not graduate.
That's so.
And it was
how can you
so
force
dumb.
me to serve the community?
How dare you?
How dare you ask me to pick up some trash?
I was like, I thought we were done with this. And also, it was community service points. So it wasn't like, oh, I cleaned up the road for 10 hours, I got 10 points or whatever. It was, oh, you did that for a day, that's 3 points. Like, they would just randomly assign points for things. And it was like, I figured out the system. That was me. I was like, I always figured out the system.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, let me learn the system, and then I'll figure out the best way to do this.
First. Hey, how much is that worth?
Yes.
Yeah, you auction first.
Yes.
Which one has the most points? Yeah, that's smart.
I was so smart. I got it all done.
They said 20 over there. Done.
Yeah. All right, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? I weighed it, like how much time versus work versus points.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, I'm not going to do this really annoying thing for 1 hour and get half a point.
Right.
When I could do this other thing for 2 hours for 5 points.
Right, totally.
Like, you dumbasses.
That's insane.
And then I realized they didn't check. So I created a foundation.
Yes.
And I worked for myself and I lied.
You gotta do what you gotta
do.
But
I was working 2 jobs, going to school full time. I didn't have time to work for free.
Hey, honey, you're not the first or the last to cheat through school in some kind of way. Everyone needs a little help here or there.
I was okay cutting corners and cheating because I wasn't using my degree. I knew I wasn't going to use my
But
degree.
also, not only that, you're cutting corners on the community service aspect. It's not like you're cutting corners on something that's like super important.
No, like if you are trying to be a scientist, don't cut corners in science class.
Right. I saw the funniest TikTok of these people graduating, and one of the girls is like sobbing, crying, and her friend's recording. She's like, "What's wrong?" She's like, "I cheated the whole time." She's like, "I don't know anything," and she's like panicking. And in the comments it says, "You'll learn it all on the job anyway." But
yeah,
I think she's getting like her doctorate or something.
Oh my God. Okay, don't cheat. That's what I always say. I'm like, if you are actually trying to specialize in something, don't cheat during those classes.
I'm sure it'll come back to her, some of the mundane stuff. But even with doctors, though, I feel like a lot of that stuff, still as scary as it is, that's why they're called licensed murderers, is it's a lot of it's learning on the job. I can't tell you how many doctors I've had go, "Give me a minute," and they open up literally WebMD right in front of me.
I have our friend,
and I don't blame them.
Our friend is a physician's assistant for an OBGYN, and she did not cheat. She's very smart.
Yeah.
She went to school. She learned the stuff. And then, and then she did the internship or whatever, where you go, your residency.
Yeah.
She did her residency and she learned a lot. But during that, like, she thought she was going to be a surgeon. And she realized during residency that she loved the OBGYN life. And so she switched. And she's doing her first official job. She has graduated. She has all the things. She has all the hours. But she's like, I went with this doctor, this facility, because they said like they would help me, like show me the reins. And her biggest complaint is this doctor is leaving her high and dry. And she goes, I went to school, I learned all the things, but there are so many things they don't teach you.
Yeah.
And so she's like, I am having to look up things all the time. And she's not trying to cut corners. She's trying to genuinely know and learn.
So that's part of it. That's probably part of it too, though, is it's not the fact that like you don't know it, you didn't learn it.
Yes.
There's so much stuff.
No one taught it to her.
Yeah.
And she's still struggling with that. And she's like, every day I'm learning something.
And stuff is always changing, always evolving.
Yes.
So people who knew something from 20 years ago, it's different than what it is now.
Because we've learned that with vets. Like, we'll go to a vet and they'll be like, yeah, have your dog eat rawhide. And we're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like,
and they're just not continuing on their education.
Because science is always learning more. Science was like, when people are like, science said this and now it's this, so we can't trust science. No, science is just evolving based on new information.
Right.
Which is a sign of intelligence, you dumbasses.
Right. It's like at first they tell you like to cook with these pans, and then okay, those aren't actually that safe because science has proved that. So now let's move on to the nonstick or the Teflon, and now it's like, okay, that was better than this, but that's actually still pretty freaking bad. So the stainless, it's just like the new information.
It's exhausting, but the more you learn, the more you grow, the more you change.
And we're
that's
in
what it is.
that time zone right now where we're capable now of testing and studying things so much more microscopically than we ever have been. And so we're really in the middle of that. We went from our grandparents in the Great Depression that were eating mayonnaise and sugar sandwiches
and using lead paint and asbestos on the ceiling.
Right, exactly. To where we're at today.
Yes. And there's so much more.
So
we were just talking on the couch. We're almost done. I know we're out of time, but we were just talking on the couch how we are learning more and more that food dyes are terrible for us. They're terrible.
And they change your mood and your hormones.
They're terrible. Like, try that. If you can do one thing, it's stay away from dyes, right? Yeah. There is no need for them in our food.
Nope.
It is just for marketing. A bag of peanut M&Ms or M&Ms, they don't need to be different colors. They don't make it taste any different.
Yeah.
It is genuinely just a marketing thing to make children want it because it's colorful, so you can have different characters in your commercials. There's no need for it.
Yeah. I used to always ignore like the colored like M&Ms after watching The Wedding Planner when I was a kid. You remember that movie?
No.
Oh, and it's J-Lo and she's picking out the colored M&Ms and Matthew McConaughey's like, what are you doing that for? And she's like, well, figure chocolate's already brown. Or I think it's like the other way around. Yeah. But ever since that, as a kid, that always got in my head where I was like, yeah, why are we adding weird colors? And then when I worked at Starbucks and we used to have the strawberry mix that they'd make the strawberry smoothies with. Also found out that the coloring and a lot of the red stuff comes from a beetle. So they're actually smashing up a freaking beetle. Yeah. And using that. Yeah. Your
food does not need to be artificially colored.
No.
If it's so, a lot of it's so it's aesthetically pleasing. Like there's a lot of food that
throw some bell pepper in it.
But like, Also, it's okay if it's not colorful.
Totally. But I think we're now getting our generation are starting to be the first generations that aren't influenced or don't want to be influenced by those things. Because we also grew up with our parents who are very much the McDonald's and Wendy's and Taco Bell and that kind of stuff. And we're still like getting out of that. And that's what they fed on was the marketing of the reds and the yellows but now we don't care. We don't care.
No. And dyes are so bad for us. I know I eat a lot of things that are bad for me. I'm obviously my soy creamer and all the things
perfect.
You can't be perfect, but one thing you can't avoid that is unnecessary is food dyes. Because I get when it's like, well, I need my sweetener, I need it to be sweeter, whatever. Okay, I get that. But food dye makes no difference to flavor.
No. And it's really bad for you.
It's so bad for you. All right, on that lovely little note, we're going to end here. We just ranted about college. We ranted about college and food dyes. That's it.
If you want to adopt Conan, jump into one of our DMs.
Hers, not mine. I don't read mine.
Yeah, not hers, mine.
But Conan is an 8-month-old German Shepherd who is the most docile, loving, calm boy on the planet. So if you have been looking for a really lovely German Shepherd,
he's for you.
He's for you.
He gets along great with other dogs. Gets along great with people.
He did bark at Stevie. He might not be good with cats, but she just crate trained him. He's potty trained. He's knows sit, paw soul. Down.
He doesn't mind my snake at all. He does sit there and just like watch him move around. So Stevie could also be something that he's just maybe never seen a cat up until this point.
Good with snakes.
Yeah, good with snakes.
But yeah, so that's it. All right, I love you guys. Yeah, Conan. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for being here.
Of course.
Okay.
Love you.
Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode of Rachel Uncensored, the only place on the internet where you can find the uncensored version of me, Rachel Ballinger. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please like, subscribe, or follow, or do whatever this platform tells you to do so that you can get notified every time I post a new episode. Love ya!